How are things coming out of the field here? What are things looking like?
They're looking good. The yields are strong. Excellent soybean yields here. We're really feel fortunate. We're really seeing a step change in yields on soybeans, and I've been in the soybean business my whole life, and our whole family has, and we're really seeing a step change we've never seen before with some of our genetics combined with the Genuity Roundup Ready to Yield soybeans. We've got, I won't read you the whole list, Bob, but we've got whole field averages averaging in upper 70s to low 80s in certain areas, especially this area into the east. It's just a lot of fun. We haven't ever seen a step change in yields like we are this year.
You know, it seemed like the emphasis in yield and development was in corn. You would see that corn step up like that, and now soybeans are coming along. The soybeans seem like they're taking light year leaps.
They are. It's been a lot of years we just didn't, we're just plugged along in those 50s and 60s, and now we're saying that 70 is the new 50. 50 used to be the breakthrough 30 years ago. Now 70 is that new yield, and we're just seeing a lot of yields breaking through. We're not seeing yield drag with the new Roundup Ready 2 soybeans, and we're just seeing the soybeans are able to have their full performance of yield. And so many years we just hit that plateau. We couldn't get over the hump, and now I think we're just off and running with some great yields.
Now, what you should be saying is that yield jump is those Latham soybeans.
Absolutely, Latham genetics combined with the trait, but you got to have the genetics first. You got to have the background, the disease resistance, and that's something we really breed for our soybeans in this area to be able to handle things like sudden death syndrome is a huge problem in this area, cyst nematode, iron chlorosis, whole Phytophthora, brown stem rot, all those types of things that we breed our soybeans to have tolerance and resistance to those diseases. You get that combined with some offensive yielding genetics combined with the trait, and you can really take off your yields.
Now, markets are sharply higher today. We're going to have a report out tomorrow morning that will be from the USDA that will tell us what the yields are and how many acres are out there to be harvested. So, we may see that market adjust one way or the other, but right now, things are sharply higher. I've heard a lot of, particularly on soybeans, that these beans are coming in a little bit heavier than what we had thought earlier.
They are. I mean, it surprised me as dry as we were. And usually they say if you have rain in August, you have high yields with soybeans. We were pretty dry in August, and yet the beans were able to perform and get over the hump. And it just makes it exciting when you get a surprise like that, seeing the yields that we've had. Corn's been kind of all over the map, depending on how much heat they got and how much moisture. But soybeans have been a real pleasant surprise, and it makes harvest a lot of fun.
Well, John, one of the guys we have talked to throughout the year is with us today as well from Lathan Seed. Mark Grunmeyer is going to be joining us a little bit later on. We've talked to Mark off and on throughout the year about what's going on in a lot of the seed and corn and bean fields. Mark Grunmeyer now. Mark is product manager with our friends from Lathan Seed. Mark, first of all, we got some fog today. Ran into it about 10 miles outside of Des Moines and all the way up to here. Now, you came in from where, Alexander, this morning?
I did, yes.
And fog, overcast?
It was overcast and foggy there as well. And actually it was kind of a welcome little bit of change with a little bit of moisture in the air. It kind of helped. The soybeans have been coming in pretty dry. And so it's kind of nice to have a little bit of moisture.
We were seeing some soybeans coming in at between 7 and 8%. I mean, that was almost looked like popcorn when we hit him with the wheel. So, the reel on the front of the combine. So, yeah, we have been pretty dry. You've been dry, I would imagine, through your neck of the woods as well.
It has been, yes, very much so.
Now, let's talk a little bit about some of the performance. Let's talk soybean performance. What are you seeing? Are you satisfied with what you're seeing coming out of the fields?
Extremely satisfied. Not only in our production growers and the yields that they're getting, bringing their soybeans right there into our plant at Alexander, but also throughout the state. For instance, here today at Mike Aldinger's farm, we're hearing reports from Mike that he's got a 1985 R2 Latham soybean coming in at just over 70 bushels to the acre.
Wow.
In other areas of the state, Hawkeye, Iowa, that's in the northeast part of the state, we had some 2084s come in at Hawkeye, 2183s come in at Hawkeye that were over 80 bushels to the acre. 2084s coming in at Dallas, Iowa, 77, Lancaster, Wisconsin, 79 bushels to the acre. So our Roundup Ready 2 soybeans are just doing phenomenal this year, Bob.
Well, it sounds like they're a little bit higher than what we even dreamed about when we were planting them.
Well, yeah, and earlier John mentioned the fact that 70 is the new 50, and I think these are the yields that we need to go after. Those are the yields that farmers need to plan for, and they need to start getting genetics and the whole trait package that can provide them those yields.
So let me ask you a question about the dryness of those soybeans coming in, guys calling and saying, I think I ought to wait maybe a little bit longer because they're just too dry.
Yeah, I don't think I would do that. There's other issues out there as well besides soybeans. I mean, there's a lot of dry corn out there in the field as well. And so I think these guys need to get those soybeans harvested and get onto the corn, because I'm a little afraid some of the corn is going to be very dry as well.
Want to make it when you can.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think if the weather is good and the equipment's ready to roll, they need.
The Mike Aldinger farm just north of Iowa Falls, and we planted this farm. We wanted to come back in and harvest this farm as well. And I think Mike just finished up soybeans yesterday.
Yes, he did. Yes.
So he had a chance to get out in the field and finish his last 35 acres or so. We talked about the quantity of beans coming out of the field. You didn't mention anything about the quality of the soybeans. What's the quality looking like?
Well, that's a good point, Bob. The quality has really been excellent so far. At our Latham conditioning plant, obviously we have a lot of our soybean growers that are harvesting their soybeans as well for us and bringing them to us. And, you know, I know a lot of the farmers out there are probably very concerned about the fact that soybeans are really dry and wondering what kind of seed that's going to make for them this coming year. The good news is that since it has been dry, it hasn't really, you know, been an on again, off again as far as rainfall here and there and everywhere. So we're catching most of these soybeans on what we call the first dry down. And whenever you do that, the seed quality maintains itself, and you also have whole seed coats. And so in general, the quality has been very excellent. Seed size has been good. I'd say average, maybe a little bit better than average year for seed size as well. So things are looking very, very good.
So going into next year, it looks like you're going to have a full load of full complement of not only genetics but a lot of seeds as well.
Absolutely, it looks like a real good supply.
Growing season go for you.
We had a good growing season. We started out the season real fast. If you remember when we talked last spring, we did planted beans in like a week's time.
Yeah.
We were pretty consistent with not a lot of rain, but just timely showers throughout the season.
You planted beans in about a week's time. You probably harvested beans in about a week's time too. You guys are about done, aren't you?
Yes, we finished yesterday, and it took us about a little over a week, 10 days.
Now talk about yield coming out of the field. And we should say you had some bumps along the way. You had some real dry weather and real hot weather.
Yes, we did. We kind of went extreme, and toward August got really dry for us. I think we only got one rain in the month of August. The early variety beans did really well. We saw those push over the 70s. I had a couple clients call and said they had early variety beans such as 2084s. They went 77.38 over the scale. I had some 1985s that pushed 70 through too. As we got into the mid-season beans, we lost a little bit of yield, but it's weather driven, and that's what we saw.
I've heard a lot of 70-plus bushel yields in soybeans.
Yeah, I'm hearing them all over. It's pretty exciting that I think the Roundup 2 generation is probably going to bring that to the table for us.
With us, John, president of Lathan Seed, and it's nice to get the president out on Combine with us. We're pretty impressed that you're out here and talking with us, John, and thankful for you to come out today. Let's talk a little bit about corn. How's corn looking coming out of the field?
You know, corn's kind of all over the map this year, Bob. I mean, we've got some good yields, but there's some tough conditions out there this year. Obviously, the heat played a big role in corn overall. I'm a farm boy at heart. I love being out in the cornfields, what I love to do, and I love picking products for our lineup. And this year, you can really tell what's going to hold up in the stress, because we had stress. We had three weeks there of 100 degrees, and it just didn't cool down at night. So you can really tell what products are going to come through and yield in a year like this, where you get a good yield, good weather all year. It's tough to pick because everything does well. But this year will be great for evaluating products, so we can really look at the data and figure out what's performing in the tough conditions and what isn't.
So commercial corn yields are all over the board, up, down. What about seed corn yields? How are your seed corn fields yielding?
Overall, we're relatively pleased. I'd say the whole industry is a little bit shell-shocked. The whole industry as a whole is pretty tight on seed corn supply. And I know a lot of farmers think that we're just trying to get farmers to place their orders early, but it's true. There's going to be a tremendous amount of seed grown in South America this year that's going to need to get back. We're fortunate we've grown our corn production all across the Midwest, across 5 states, Iowa and the surrounding states. So we're fortunate there to be able to spread out our risk, and we've got some good supplies. But overall, I know there's a tremendous amount of stuff in South America, which gives farmers and myself gray hair when they have to bring that stuff back from South America.
Yeah, no kidding. Hey, we're at Mike Aldinger's farm north of Iowa Falls right now. Weather coming through here, you know, we had some wind. I guess that was off the south and maybe even a little west of us. It knocked over a lot of corn. I don't know if we had that much wind here. We had a lot of heat, I know, in the middle of summer.
We did have some heat, and you know, our friend Johnny Wilson down in Marshalltown had that field that just got demolished with wind, and we went through it here 6 weeks ago, and I thought, man, this field, I mean, realistically, if we make 150 bushel, I was going to be thrilled. Came through as our 5376 VT3 Latham. It came through at 214 bushel, and that's the exciting thing to me, to see a product be able to handle that much stress and still come through with that kind of yield. It makes it a lot of fun.
Well, I think it goes back to genetics in the seed, whether that's corn or soybeans. We're seeing some surprises coming out of the field right now.
Yeah, we are. It's all over the map, and you know, we're just seeing just too much heat. I don't think we'll ever see the kind of heat. I can't imagine ever having 3 weeks like we had where it just didn't cool down at night. So it's a great year to evaluate corn hybrids.
With us. Michelle Vamos is also with us with the Iowa Beef Industry Council. And Michelle, you're kind of, well, you provided lunch for us today. Big thank you for that. First of all, you brought some meatballs with you that were, I think, well, tell me about it.
Okay, everyone this time of year is really busy, whether you're taking food to the field or your families are busy. And so one of the things that our family really enjoys is fully cooked meatballs. In 10 minutes, you can have a great like spaghetti meatballs, or you can have what we had today, meatball sandwiches. There's something that are quick, easy, and of course then full of protein. The product I brought today actually is made by a company here in Iowa, Burke, the Swedish meatballs, and they're great. Like I said, out of Nevada, yep, and they're great. All you do is heat them in a microwave, or you can heat them in a crock pot, and they're easy, quick to go. We all love tailgating. We know that if you've got beef on your grill, you can be on the fan cams at Iowa this Saturday. But this is a great idea to take to ball games as well, because again, quick, you can enjoy the activities going on, but still have a great thing that everyone enjoys. We made meatball sliders, which are really fun, or you can just try different sauces and have them unseasoned as well.
Tell me about your website. I can find out more.
You can always visit our website, iabeef.org. It's full of information on beef's nutrition. It's got cooking information as well as a great bank of recipes for everyone to enjoy.
Okay, a lot of new cuts of beef that we've seen debuted over the last couple of years. So we had the other night some flat up, and you still one of my favorites on the grill. And if you cut those real thin afterwards, man, that's hard to beat.
That's the great thing about steak, is that you can enjoy it for dinner, and then you can have it the next morning as steak and egg burritos or lunch on a salad. And so that's great. You always need a couple extra of those steaks on your grill so that you can enjoy them the next day.
Thank you so much for coming out today. We'll see you next week as we're going to be harvesting again with the guys from Lathan Seed. John Latham was with us again. And John, we haven't talked a lot about the Roundup Ready 2 product. I know you wanted to tell us a little bit about Roundup Ready 2.
Well, we're really seeing a breakthrough in yields. It's been a lot of fun right here. We appreciate Mike and Donna Aldinger having us here today. We're really seeing some great yields right here. The Latham 2084 R2 did 77.8 bushels, about 15 miles from here over Dow's, Iowa. That's a variety that's just having a breakout year. If you're in northern Iowa and you're not planting Latham 2084, you're really missing out, because we've seen 77.8 bushel and 79 bushel, a lot of mid-70s. 70 is the new 50, where we used to be 30 years ago, 50 bushel was what we were looking for. Now I don't think if you're not getting through 70 bushel, or at least striving for that, you're missing out.
Even with the weather problems that we had this year.
Yeah, and it was a nice surprise, because the heat, it affected the corn a little more than the soybeans. The soybeans hung in there really well, and it's just a lot of fun to see the yields we've seen. So many 70s and 80s. It's a lot of fun.
Well, back in the fields again next week with our friends from Latham Seed.